Yo. Yo. Okay. Yeah, this week, Cavern Devlog number 3. The past 2 weeks were categorized by a lot of UI work and a lot of visual overhauling. I'm slowly figuring out the look of the game and how I want it to be, but it's really coming together in these past 2 weeks. I think I have a good vision for the future. If you have any interest at all in the game, please throw me a wishlist. The Steam page is up. You just look up Cavern, or you can go to the link in the description or on my website. Wishlist really helps out, and you'll be notified when the game is released or when the demo is dropped. Save me from the cold weather, please. I need your help. So last week I had worked on objects that you can pick up, being the key and the health potion. And this week I added a bunch of those, concerned with a couple more features that I want for the base object, whether it's enemies or players. I added a simple torch that you can pick up. It provides light. I kind of want to have enemies that interact with light later in the game, because I want the cave to be very dark, and then maybe an enemy gets damaged by a light source or stunned or something of that nature. The torch can just be picked up and put down, can be destroyed by things that do damage. A cool visual thing here for the torch is that I got to do a fun shader for the fire, but then I also made sure the fire has its own transform that always points up, so even if the torch is turned around, the fire and the flames always go up. The other 2 objects that you can pick up that I added are the shield module, which grants the shield, which is kind of like the divine shield in Hearthstone. It blocks all knockback, it blocks all damage, and it's a one-time use. And you can have one essentially active at one time. And the shield module works similar to the health potion in the way that if you pick it up and carry it around, as soon as your shield is gone, it'll refresh your shield if you're carrying one. So you can essentially have 2 shields by choosing to carry around a shield module. I added armor plates, which grant you armor, and I'll get to the UI work involved here a little later because I think it turned out really cool. But basically, armor is like health that you can't get back, so it'll take whatever damage it can, and then the leftovers will go to your normal health, but you can't re-heal armor. Since your armor can just go up infinitely, you can't actually pick up the armor plate. Another interactable object that I added was the campfire. So the campfire has a one-time interact that will heal you for 2 health. There are going to be multiple stationary interactable objects, including various types of chests and things that deal damage to you for gold or whatever, so things like that. And I needed to make a stationary object to test locking of objects. So that was the next thing that any object can be locked. Even a potion or a key could be behind a lock, and there are multiple different lock types. I haven't modeled them all yet, but there's a normal key lock, a bomb lock that just needs to be blown up, things like that. I'll use the same system for pricing items in the shop. The lock just checks for the right kind of key or interaction that it needs, and then you can interact with the object unlocked. I got to use my cool fire shader again for the campfire, and I think it turned out pretty cool. Definitely needed some tweaking, and I might still look at it more. I also added UV variance for the terrain, so in my little tile set, I added an extra slight alteration of the terrain so that there's some interesting variation there. And I'll be able to do this for every terrain type that I come up with to have slightly varied tiles. The main thing that I worked on this week was also UI. I added a little hit marker that displays a number for when I need to count up something, or when you take damage, or when you're healed, that kind of thing. You can send the hit marker a different damage type, and it'll be the right color and amount for that damage you took. It also works for healing and gaining armor, and if something's locked, I can even pass in strings. So I added a label for interactable objects, so if you walk up to a key, it'll say key. I also added a health bar. My plan is to make the health bar get larger depending on the enemy's health, but it's fully reskinnable with colors per object. This is the cool UI for the armor that I was talking about. Basically, I made a little shield model in Blender and rendered it out and scaled it down, and then took it into Photoshop and made some pixel edits. There's a broken variation, And then I made a little rotating sparkle effect. And so whenever you have armor, it's very clear and the number is visible on top. And then when you get hit, the little armor breaks. And then after it's done breaking, if you have none left, it'll hide itself. I also added health bar support for shields. So your health bar will gain a blue tint if you have a shield, and it'll flash, just like when the object gets its shield hit. I also added per object cooldowns. When the player is like emitting an object, say like a bullet, I can make upgrades that make you shoot faster, or etc. I made the slime. He's really cool. He was in the base game. I spruced him up. He's got a little cool shader now, and he's got the same animations. I think the animations look better in like perspective view, but they still turn out really cool in the orthographic camera. Yeah, he's a nice guy if you get to know him. But I also gave slimes the ability to interact with objects, so they can like pick up keys and torches and stuff and carry them around. Eventually, I'll have other enemies that are more conscious about what they pick up and have like priorities. And so the goal, hopefully, is to make a little ecosystem where you'll be able to spawn a guy to go steal a thing from another enemy, and then that enemy will get distracted, like trying to kill the guy because he stole from him and stuff like that. And you can like walk around, do whatever. Along with the slime came the enemy base class, so this class handles knockback for enemies, targeting systems. I have a solid foundation moving forward to make all sorts of different types of enemies. The enemies also really help make the game feel alive, along with the torches and the campfires. They really like breathe life into the game because it's sort of moving elements, you know. I'm excited to start laying out levels when I get into level generation, because I think it'll really pull it together and it'll help really sell the world, I think. Oh yeah, the enemies also get a little exclamation point when they notice you, so I think that's a fun way to sort of telegraph to the player what's going to happen. I might make more of those things if the enemies get hit or when they attack, those kinds of things, just to make sure the player doesn't get blindsided completely by some of the actions. Eventually, with all these new objects I'm adding, the swap menu is going to get super cluttered and long. I made it support pages, so you can go back and forth between pages. I think ideally I'll have a favoriting system, so items that you swap to often you can specify, and then so you can go to your favorites tab. And then lastly, I worked on the gem system, so enemies can pick up gems and so can the player, but the player's gem pool is totaled up in the top left. Eventually, when an enemy that collected a bunch of gems is killed, it'll drop all those gems. Yeah, I think I got a lot of work done. The UI is coming together, pulling a lot of inspiration from games that I like. If you can see the cave story influence, or influence from like Risk of Rain 2 with the shaders and all that. I've been playing that a decent amount, so I think it's pretty cool to be able to try to see stuff and implement it in my own game in my own way. But yeah, another 2 weeks down. My goals for the next 2 weeks are some cleanup stuff, drop rates, so enemies that can drop not only their gems but objects. I want you to be able to smash a pot and maybe get a gem out of it. I need to do map generation and saving and loading. I do need to make bullets that can arc or home or things like that. And for the enemies, I need like a pickup and targeting priority system so enemies can evaluate what's, you know, important to them. Most of the base systems of the game are pretty close to being done. I will be slowing down with the Christmas season, but oh well. But anywho, trudging along. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all of the comments, and I appreciate you spending your time here on the channel. If you'd like to share anything with me, I got a Discord. It might be easier that way, but you can also drop a comment or email me on the email on my official website, and I'll try to get back to you. I have a couple games on Steam. You can check them out through the website in the description. One of them is a local multiplayer physics skiing game with a banger soundtrack, and the other one is a tower defense roguelite. It's on mobile as well. So yeah, check them out, leave me a review, and thanks for watching.